Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to Zwift, my fitness journey. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. First off, we're going to put out a poll. So we've been trialing a few different strategies on how to present this Zwift series. Now, the first one up for vote is this style, the punishing on the bike commentary, the huffing and puffing, and that would be for the entirety. Second option, straight up voiceover all the way through. So you still get the punishing cam, you still get the huffing and puffing in the background of it, not quite as loud, but then all the commentary comes via voiceover, or the third option is a combination. So introductions like this on the bike, a little bit of a background, a little bit of story, and then kind of going into voiceover for the majority of the duration with, that huffing and puffing punishment in the background. I might do outros back on the bike occasionally, like I did in the last episode, but otherwise voiceover kind of taking the bulk, but you get the gist of kind of that combined bit, that combined effort of the two styles. So, link in the description below. Be sure to participate in that poll, let me know what style you prefer, and then we'll kind of continue with that from here on out. Now, today's topic, as we ride in the middle of the road a couple times to go around these guys, going for the zigzag. Well, anyway, today's topic is, well, different. It's a bit of a tangent, off topic. I would like to do my first thoughts when it comes to Zwift, but I haven't done enough yet. I haven't been in enough yet. I've certainly done some kilometers, and I have good things to say, but I think I need to do some of the training programs. I think I need to do some sort of group ride, real route runs, though I've done a couple circuits. But I'd like to do a little more before I give my first impressions. And I know some of you, many of you, are wondering about my equipment, and believing that episode is coming, and coming soon. Now you might see right up here is my boom mic, and it works. It's okay, but it does have limited function, especially being mounted with my computer. I can't get it where I want to be, so to do a proper episode on equipment, I've ordered a lavalier mic that I'll be able to mount on, and oh my goodness, those guys are going through the building. Poor guys. Alright, well anyway, that's the first big glitch that I've seen of any kind. That group comes flying past me. Little 3% gradient, nice slow right on down. Not them. Here they come. Finished coming through the building, right in the sidewalk, and out into the road. Well anyway, so the equipment episode is coming, but I want to do it proper justice, and I need to wait for that piece of equipment to arrive. So today's episode, and occasionally episodes will have a similar format to this, being music. I have a major history when it comes to music. It's a big part of my life. It's a big part of a lot of people's lives. But of course, most of music is subjective, and it comes down to one's opinion. And so, today is a bit of my opinion when it comes to music. Genres, artists, individual artists themselves, the specific musicians, songs, all that kind of stuff. This is a great segue for you to jump down into the comments as we go through this episode and through the various pieces, the various elements, and let me know, do you like some of these bands, artists? You don't like them? Somebody else you like? maybe somebody you'd recommend in the genre that I didn't mention. So do feel free to participate. Alright, well, with that being said, my love of music, where it came from, we'll do that while I'm on the bike, and then I'll go into voiceover for some specifics, genres and whatnot. So for me, like I said, music's been a big part of my life, and that story, I guess we can kind of jump forward to the middle bit, being middle school. Middle school, I joined band, and I was a percussionist, specifically drums. There are plenty of other percussion instruments, and played many dozen variety of instruments. I know I got to speak up a little bit when I'm on cobbled or wooden bridges in order for you to hear me. Good thing I learned about that last time. Don't bother pointing that one out, and I already recognized it as soon as I went into Adobe Premiere to my edit. Well, anyway, as a percussionist, I didn't just play in school. I went well beyond that. So I'm planning to begin with the lesser known and, for me, lesser listened to genres. So let's begin with something old school, as in super old school, as in classical. I do listen to it, but it's more of appreciation than actually listen. The listening is pretty rare, but with that music background, I did listen to a fair bit of classical. So Bach, Beethoven are the obvious choices as favorites, but my favorite arrangement is The Planets from Holst. Absolutely phenomenal. Translates really well to that drum corps thing I was talking about. For international, I do listen to a little bit of non-English, but majority of what I listen to is definitely in English. My wife is from the Philippines, so there are a number of Filipina singers. Not really any of the guys. There's one or two that's okay, but there's a few of the female singers there that I'll enjoy listening to when my wife's listening to that. Another old school one, but has made it into my eardrums on fairly consistent numerous occasions, would be Edith Piaf. La Vie en Rose is one of the amazing, saddest songs ever written. I've heard some K-pop, I've heard some J-pop, don't listen to on a regular basis, but they certainly make for interesting listening and viewing with the music videos. They certainly put on a good show with what they're doing there. And then, of course, there's the crossover ones that make it into American mainstream music industry, like Psy, and the one that I would listen to not only in English but in her native language is Shakira. As a kid, I listened far more frequently. As an adult, it's less often, but certainly still on occasion. But when I'm in the mood for something a bit heavier, whether that's metal, that there would be some electronic dance music that could get mixed in there as well. But Tool, definite favorite in that area. 9 Inch Nails, especially growing up. Nirvana, Rage Against the Machine, and then one of my favorites to this day is 30 Seconds to Mars. American pop, very little of that really has been something I've been able to connect with. Very little. There's some. Occasional song, occasional artist comes along. Across the pond, British pop seems to resonate with me a little bit more than the American versions. Adele, Ed Sheeran, Ellie Goulding, and the lesser known one, and not really pop, but Rizzle Kicks. Found them randomly years ago, and they haven't put out much, but Down with the Trumpets, great song. Some of the indie scene, and a little bit of that more mainstream, but on the indie side, Maria Mina, that's my easy listening go-to, of Monsters and Men. Great group. They put out such fantastic music. I wish they would put on a better show. I'd love to see them in concert, but I've seen recordings of concert footage, and oh man, just yeah, I'll pass on that part. But great musicians otherwise. My really obscure one, not that my wife's gonna be listening to this most likely. Our first dance at our wedding
was Grow Old With You from Adam Sandler, from The Wedding Singer. I've got to throw that one out there. And then also, while 98% of the world would not agree, there's about 2% out there, at least 10 years ago anyway. A lot of people thought I looked like Adam Sandler. And then finally in that category, and this one is my favorite, besides 30 Seconds to Mars, this has been kind of my other favorite for the last 15, 20 years, and that would be the Airborne Toxic Event. They have such a mature sound. They have classical training, some of the musicians within the band, and then the lead singer was an English major. The intelligence in the writing, in the arrangements, the time changes, what they're able to bring to the music and still have it be suitable to mainstream is amazing. They had a couple songs that made it onto the radio, and of course that's where I first discovered them, but they are a much lesser known band. But the Airborne Toxic Event, phenomenal stuff, and every single album they put out, even though they've had a couple changes, the members of the group, but they are really impressed with their whole body of work. Currently on the radio, I'd probably say my favorite right now is Matt Mason. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of Billie Eilish, but I do respect her resonating with the audience right now, and she is a good star, but not necessarily for me. I don't mind hearing it when it's on the radio. In classic rock, easy: Zeppelin, Beatles, Johnny Cash, Pink Floyd, Queen. Going back on that musical background, I've seen musicals and do appreciate them. Not everybody does. Some people can't stand them. Some people love them. But for me, musicals, there's a definite handful. And then if you started pressing hard, I could come up with another handful quite easily. But here's the ones that stand out for me. Little Shop of Horrors. Oh, I love Little Shop. I was actually just watching Carpool Karaoke with James Corden and Ariana Grande. It's a couple years old, but they did one of the songs from Little Shop. And as I sat and listened to it, and I would put Ariana Grande as one of the great singers, but I can't stand her music itself. It's just not my genre. She is one of the most talented singers ever. She would be a phenomenal Audrey in some sort of remake. James Corden would make a bad Seymour, but I think you could find a better option, someone a little more Rick Moranis-like. James Corden's so much bigger than Rick Moranis. You got to find somebody small and nerdy to play that role. Not necessarily, but I don't know. That's just how I see Seymour, because it's Rick Moranis. Well, anyway, West Side Story, Moulin Rouge, Phantom of the Opera, greatest all time, and Rocky Horror Picture Show can just about rival it. For me, though, majority of the time, I'm listening to alternative rock. I do like to listen to music on YouTube a lot when I'm doing the work, so I'm not just a YouTuber, but I do like to observe others on YouTube, and that includes some music channels. So I'll give a quick shout out to a few of my favorite YouTubers. Often sings in French, but also does English. Chloe Staffler, young, talented. She's got a great voice. On the metal side of things, but really talented performer, Leo Maraccioli, Frog Leap Studios. He does Feel Good Inc. and lots of other hits. He puts out new music every single week, and I love that guy. Violet Orlandi, up and coming. She's done a lot of collaborations with others recently. She's also recently hired on some staff. She has a band now, and she's putting out more and more content, and she's blowing up right now. But I've been a fan of hers for about a year and a half now. And then finally, this is one that a lot of people will recognize from a specific video, but wouldn't recognize her by name. She hasn't posted anything new in 3 years on her channel, but she has her band, and her band will occasionally post content from their concerts. She's old soul, even though she's a teenager, but Kayla Rose. Now, Kayla Rose, her fame is from the O'Keefe Music Foundation. For those who have seen the O'Keefe Music Foundation before, it's an actual school of rock, like that Jack Black movie. So O'Keefe Music Foundation trains kids in rock and alternative songs, and they put out videos that are phenomenal. But the biggest hit that they've ever had was a cover of Tool's 46 and 2. Kayla Rose was the singer in that as maybe an 11-year-old, 10-year-old with vocals that is unmatched by 98% of the professional singers when she was 10 or 11. She continues to have this amazing range, amazing grasp of vocals, and in the genre that I like. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and every few months I'm checking in going, where is this girl and why hasn't she become the biggest star on the planet? At least in the genre, because it's massively overdue. She is so talented. In the alternative category, my favorites, and this is a list that could be so much bigger. The others are kind of, it's easy to pinpoint, here's my favorites. This is an area where I could go on and on and on, but this is a short list. So, Pearl Jam. That is easily one of my all-time favorite bands. Dave Matthews Band. That is the one that I can listen to all day, every day, and not get bored. Panic at the Disco. Muse. One of the greatest sets of musicians. They are Led Zeppelin today. And then Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters are a little hit and miss for me. Every album they put out, 80% of it, I just don't like. But that other 20%, those couple songs, holy cow. Just great stuff, all-time great stuff. Just wish they were a little more consistent on that. And now we're going to move into some of my favorite songs. It's a list of about 10 that I've got here of my all-time favorites. I'm sure that I missed a couple, and then there are obviously dozens of others that I could likewise pick. But here's a few of my all-time favorite songs. Mad World, Gary Jules. Creep from Radiohead, definitely right near the top of the list. That's easily top 3. Beautiful Lie, This Is War, The Kill, all from 30 Seconds to Mars. Jeremy or Dissident from Pearl Jam. Many of other honorable mentions. Black, Better Man, Even Flow. Dave Matthews Band for me. 2 top choices, though there are so many to choose from there as well. Crash Into Me, of course, is their most popular hit of all time. But Gravedigger is my favorite song of theirs. Foo Fighters, Everlong, all the way. Everlong, easy choice. Sound of Silence, but the recent cover, Disturbed, that's the one that really does it for me. Say It Ain't So from Weezer. Killin' in the Name, Rage Against the Machine, so relevant today. I had no idea what they were singing about when I first started listening to them in the 90s, rolling around on my bike, on my paper route, headphones on, listening to my cassette player. Man Who Sold the World, Nirvana. Since I've Been Loving You, Led Zeppelin. And then finally, and my list of favorite musicians as an entire group, Muse, Knights of Caledonia. Some of my all-time favorite singers, Eddie Vedder, Dave Matthews, Amy Lee, Adele, Ariana Grande, though, like I said, I don't like what she sings, I just like her voice. Jimmy Page, Freddie Mercury. I can't go into guitars. I could definitely pick a few guitarists, but as someone who does not play the guitar, I could do karaoke. I can sing. I can definitely handle drums, as that is my background, and I'll give you that list. But for guitarists, I'm not smart enough when it comes to the guitar to pick out who I'd say the best are. But drummers, pretty easy choices. I've got 2 that are more honorable mentions. Phil Collins, because he can drum and sing, and likewise Dave Grohl. But in terms of actual talent, I think the 2 best drummers, easy choices, Danny Carey of Tool and John Bonham, Led Zeppelin. Hands down, no doubt about it. The most phenomenal, the use of time changes, the patterns, the rhythmic patterns that they use are unmatched by anyone.
Oh my, what a climb. Oh, we're finally at the top. I know this course so well. Back of my hand. past our freckle. Right there. I know this course, of course, from Pro Cycling Manager. US National Championships here so often. It's a different layout, but you get the gist of it. Very, very similar. And this is where we would essentially complete our lap, or just about. And as for time though, it's definitely time at completing our lap. So I'll have to call that climb it. We got another 23rd Street coming up. That second leg, 10%. No thanks. No thanks. Probably hitting that in just a second. Oh, not quite. Maybe when we come back the other way. Yeah, this is downhill. So I'm gonna come up back up the other block. Well, anyway, I'm the Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time. Do comment below on what you thought of the music discussion. Also, be sure to participate in the poll. Link in the description on which presentation style you prefer. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I'll see you back in a couple of days. Be safe out there. Bye for now.